Joining me now is criminologist Dr. Casey Jordan. Dr. Jordan, it's good to see you again today. Thank you for being with us.
Good to see you.
Let's continue to talk about sort of following the leads. In this case, I want to talk about not the tips, but the behavior of law enforcement. When you see law enforcement searching the Catalina foothills, when you see them searching along roadsides, a few days ago, when you saw them looking into a septic tank, what does that tell you about what they're looking for? Does it lead you towards they're looking for evidence, or at some point, are they looking for a body?
Both, clearly. The bottom line is it's evidence, evidence, evidence. And if, God forbid, Nancy has passed and we find her in any condition, that would present evidence in and of itself. But, think about just our search for the alleged CEO killer, Luigi Mangione, right? We had to look for the bicycle. We had to look for the backpack, which we found in Central Park, right? Then suddenly the tips came out, even though we had a masked face, somebody recognized the masked face and said, oh, I think I have him on the security footage, at the hostel. And we got the first clear picture without a mask. Now, again, innocent till proven guilty, but we watched that unfold and we realized the importance of gathering evidence and putting it out to the public at the same time. So, behind Annie's house, is it possible that the guy on the porch was casing Nancy for a while, followed her to Annie's house, was surveilling that house from behind the foothills, watched her depart, knew what time she got home, then went inside? I mean, they're looking for footprints. They're looking for cast-off clothing. They're looking for things like backpacks and stored equipment. And they could also be looking for grave sites, let's admit it. But there are taking this so seriously in the last 24 hours since we got that video out, and this can only be good.
Yesterday, you were with us after we received that video, which is on the screen right now. And we talked a lot about the clues that might be buried in this video. One of the things I wanted to return to is the behavior of the culprits in this video. The relaxed demeanor, the seemingly disregard for time, not in a rush, not in a hurry. I'm curious what that behavior reflects. It's not the behavior of someone who looks to be in the midst of committing a hurried crime. It looks to be, and this is speculation, as so much of all of this is, the behavior of someone who already knows what he's walking into. Maybe someone who's there to clean up a crime scene. I'm just curious. It's very, very interesting behavior for someone in the commission of a crime.
Yeah, and I really wish we knew the timestamp of exactly when that was happening on the front porch. That would help us all kind of reconstruct things. But you're right, he's not hurried. I wouldn't exactly call him confident, but here's the clue. He walks up to the door with his head down, which would indicate he doesn't know whether there's a camera there or not, right? If he is familiar with the house, which I would think he is, perhaps in some way, several degrees of separation related to a tradesman who's worked there or a service provider who's worked there, knows who the occupant would be. But he walks up with his head down and then he sees the camera, the Nest camera, which he's not expecting. And then when that happens, you either are prepared to spray paint it or stick a piece of tape on it to cover up the lens. But he's like clutching literally for flowers to cover it up. This is amateur night. He is a beginner. And maybe what we have here is beginner's luck that they haven't caught him yet. But now that we have this footage, I have no doubt that we will eventually identify the person on the porch.
There's one more curiosity I wanted to ask you about as a criminologist, and I think we can put these two images up side by side. Many are pointing out the videos released by the FBI reveal the man that we've all become familiar, the backpack, the reflective gear, the gun and holster on the front of the body. But you can see in a separate video another image, which we freeze framed and is on your screen right now, side by side, Dr. Jordan. And in that video, there's no sign of a backpack. The jacket looks slightly different, perhaps. No sign of the gun. It could be under the jacket. The mask could or could not be exactly the same. And that's led to questions. Is this the same person? Is this someone who has dumped the backpack? Or is this simply a difference in how the camera has captured the image?
I believe it is the same person. And the problem is that we are only getting the stills that the FBI is releasing to us. And we don't know what chronological order they may have come in, right? We don't know if these were taken after the backpack was handed off to somebody else or dumped or put into a car. Or maybe just the light is so bad until he gets onto the porch that we can't see where the backpack is. But I do believe 100% that this is the same person. And, you know, he could have the gun tucked up under the front pouch, if you will, of his fleece, and then it releases and dangles down later. But I do think it's one person. That is not to say he doesn't have a compatriot waiting off camera, waiting in a car, or hanging out at the back of the house. We just don't know. But I do believe that the images we see are the same person. And as long we have 4,000 tips yesterday, one of them is going to pan out. It's just a matter of time.
All right, thank you. Dr. Casey Jordan.
Always great to be here. Thanks.
All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.